Heyo, I'm Elisa and I am the Scrappy Wife behind scrappywife.com, and today I have an art journaling process video for you. I'm working in my small Jane Davenport art journal that you've seen me work in throughout this year, and I'm getting closer to finishing it up. Today I'm going to just simply play with paper. I have a lot of Amy Tangerine scraps left over from various projects, and I'd like to use those. All of them have kind of a black and white feel with some pops of color. I'm going to use some Sizzix dies right here that are these beautiful butterflies that I'm really excited to try out and combine with some different patterns. And I'm going to do some sort of butterfly theme page. I'm not really sure what's going to happen, which is the best way to start an art journaling page. You do not have to be intimidated to art journal. You don't need any special skills. You don't need training. All you need is a desire to get creative, and you just start putting things on paper and see what comes of it. I will put you on fast forward and we'll see how the page turns out. So I decided to leave this first part in because it's kind of a lesson on what not to do with a manual die cutting machine. You see me getting all set up here. When you're using a manual die cutting machine like this Jane Davenport one, you make kind of a sandwich with your dies. I'm showing you there's a difference between the dies. One is the full butterfly, one is all of the little intricate details. So I lay it right here and you simply turn it and go through. But here's the deal, I didn't correctly do the sandwich. So you're gonna see I have an issue. It didn't cut through because I pushed the die too far forward, if that makes sense. And so it wasn't sandwiched beneath that very bottom thick board right there. You have the thick board, and then for Jane Davenport you have these two pink plates, and that is what cuts the machine. So I get set up, round two, I'm like, okay, now I learned my lesson, let me get it all fixed. I'm a pro, right? Nope. In and out, just making sure it gets a good cut, and I put one of my dies down on the wrong side. So there's a cutting side, and then the other side is just kind of a shape, and I accidentally had placed it the wrong way. So you see me putting it back again, and let me try this just one more time. Finally, I got a clean cut. I spent a long time cutting out as many butterflies and butterfly outlines as I possibly could. I definitely had more than I needed for this project, but I love the fall colors, and I know that I'll be able to use these in my Bible journaling, and especially in my planner is where I'm planning on putting several of these to decorate in the months of October and November. Now comes the assembly process. On my left, I have a big pile of patterned butterflies, and on the right, I cut out the butterfly outlines in white and in black. And I'm just going to start combining randomly different patterns and either a white or black outline. I'm putting one bead of Tombow liquid adhesive in the middle where like the butterfly body would be. That way the wings still have movement to them. I like that you can only see a little bit of the pattern peeking out, and I like the very stark contrast of the black butterflies and the white butterflies. You don't normally think of black and white when it comes to butterflies, which is why I just found this idea very intriguing. I'm normally a very colorful person, and this one and this experiment today was very black and white, very kind of dark and light. It was an interesting, like I said, a stretch for me, and it was fun to do. So I assemble all that I can. I still have leftover butterflies on the left. Like I said, I'll be using them in other projects, and actually I end up with a few too many completed butterflies up top, and that is certainly okay. I am never short on butterflies. Love it. When I was die cutting all of these butterflies out earlier, something interesting happened, and you'll see it right here. I tossed one of the scrap pieces of paper over to the side, and it happened to land on top of a pattern piece of paper, and I loved, loved, loved the look of that. And so what I'm going to do here is I am going to attach, these are scraps that I simply just cut out all those butterflies out of. I'm going to attach them with some patterned paper on the background. I like the look, and I'm going to use it as kind of a jumping off point, an anchor for my page. So I'm using that same liquid adhesive just because I think it's a little bit easier to work with in this case. putting it all around the outlines of those butterflies, and then I'll flip it over, trim off the extra, and I have kind of a cool looking butterfly pattern paper that I almost put together myself here. And then I take these other butterflies and I'm going to switch it out for a little bit of a darker piece of paper, taking the glue once again, really focusing on the outline of the butterfly, not so much worrying about the edge of the paper, but getting it all covered nice and thoroughly so that it will stick, and then placing it down on the paper. So I spent a little time fiddling with the papers, trying to decide how I wanted them to line up. And now I'm going to pull a circle that I can trace. This is a Creative Memories circle. This is from like a flash in the past. I'm going to trace this circle with my pages lined up just like this with a pencil, and then cut out the two pieces. And what I will be left with is a very interesting kind of non-symmetrical circle that I'm going to use in my project. I really like that the project, or that the circle, is not symmetrical. Sorry, I get a bit out of frame right here. It'll come back in frame in a little bit. I'm going to use the same liquid adhesive, and I'm just using the circle as a starting off point for my page. Like I said when I started, I knew I wanted to use butterflies. I knew I wanted to use darker colors, but I really didn't have a plan other than that. So I'm going to start putting things on the page and experimenting with exactly what I want it to look like. And the circle is a good starting off point. Now I'm going to add kind of a scribbly border around the edge of the page. Usually I cover the whole page with color, and this one is a little bit of a departure for me because I'm not going to do the whole page. I'm not painting the whole page, but I felt like it really needed an anchor just to kind of get me moving forward. So I added the scribbly border with my black micron pen, and that just gives me kind of a stopping point, somewhere for my eyes to stop, and I like the border it provides. And now is the fun part. I'm going to play with all of these butterflies. I decided I liked the idea of the black butterflies on the left kind of flying into the circle and the white butterflies flying out of the circle. I toyed with maybe layering a few of the just pattern paper butterflies to the left, but changed my mind on that. And I just like the combination. I like the stark difference between the black and white ones. They just really were eye-popping to me, maybe a little bit creepy. I don't know, maybe I'm in the Halloween mode. I'm not sure about that, but I just liked how it looked. So I'll adhere all of these down. This time I'm going to use my Tombow permanent tape runner just because I want them to be nice and secure and not to move around at all as I start working with the rest of the page. As I was placing the butterflies, the word release came into my head, and it's a word that I've been saying to myself a lot lately, just releasing stress, releasing tension, releasing anxiety. So I decided I'm going to try to letter the word release. Now, I do not have fantastic hand lettering. It's something I'm working on, and I tend to shy away from using my own lettering on projects, but I decided I'm going to be brave and I'm going to put it straight on here and and not fret about what it looks like. So I start with pencil just so I can make sure my spacing will all work out okay. Adding in some of the hand lettering details, and I'm super glad I did start with pencil because I did my S backwards. So you can see me erase, try that again, and finish my word. I'm coming back over with kind of an orangey red color. This is a Spectrum Noir alcohol marker, which I don't use nearly enough in my craft room. I have a very nice set of them, but just don't get to use them that much. I trace over the pencil. You can still see the pencil lines, so I come back in with a very clean white eraser and get most of those off. And I decide I feel like the title needs a little bit something else, so I am going to come back in with my Micron brush pen and add some black accents to kind of draw the black over to this side of the page. It was at this point that my colorful side started to come back into play, and I decided the page just looked a little too stark, and I just couldn't figure out how to add color since I had already put these butterflies down. I ended up deciding to grab for my Distress airbrush tool, and this is kind of a hand airbrush. You can put different markers. It's kind of made for distress markers, but you can also use these Spectrum Noir markers. They do fit in. You put it in, and then you can kind of hand airbrush some different splotches on the page, and it looks a little random right now, but I like it happening behind the butterfly. So I add it in the orange and in a yellow and in a turquoise, and then I also come back with a black. You can see the yellow right here, and I like the movement that it provides, the very faint little effect of color. And it just kind of brings the page together. Your eye is already going from the bottom left to the bottom right, or to the top right, and this aids in that just a bit. And the last step for my page is going to be adding some Tim Holtz phrase stickers. I don't know about you, I just love these stickers. As you can see, I'm actually getting relatively close to finishing this whole packet, and I'm kind of resisting the urge to go buy a new one because I want to actually finish. I mean, how often do you really finish a whole set of stickers? For me, it's not very often, so I'm kind of pumped that I'm getting there on this one. I love these phrase stickers. Whenever I grab for them, I never use just one. I always end up layering them up. And I added up in the top left, live, create, tell the story, have an open heart, adventure awaits you, and take risk. And then in the bottom right, be open to whatever comes next, never give up, go where your heart takes you, and let it go. Adding a sketchy box around each phrase sticker, and this art journal is done. I really enjoyed this page. It was simple but fun to just play with some paper. It doesn't have to be complicated. Have a great time with your art journaling. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button as well as that bell notification button. I hope you have a fantastic day, and as always, keep it creative.